Hey everyone, I'm Matt Lieberman. We've been talking a lot about American politics lately, and there's a great big wide world out there with lots to discuss, so let's ditch the Democrats, remove the Republicans, and learn what's up. This is The Loop. Can America go one freaking day without getting hacked? Apparently, so-called shadow brokers have stolen cyberweapons from the Equation Group, an outfit of American hackers rumored to be backed by the NSA. The shadow brokers are trying to sell the stolen goods to the highest bidder in a Bitcoin auction, and despite the sketchy details offered by the hackers, the code that they claim to have stolen appears to be legitimate. Matt Swish, a French cybersecurity entrepreneur, looked over the sample of code released by the hackers and voiced his confirmation of the code's veracity via a post on Medium. News of the hack first surfaced last Saturday when the hackers posted the code sample on GitHub with the following message. We hack Equation Group. We find many Equation Group cyberweapons. You see pictures. We give you some Equation Group files free. You see. The codes appear to be designed to circumvent firewalls from a number of firms, including Cisco and Chinese firm TopSec. Speaking of the Chinese, they're taking no chances with their national cybersecurity. This past Tuesday, the nation launched its first quantum satellite into space. So what is a quantum satellite? It's an orbital communications device designed to offer hack-proof communications theoretically at faster than light speed, based on the theory of quantum entanglement. Essentially, once two particles interact with each other, they remain entangled with each other even if they are physically far apart. So if someone interacted with or tried to hack a message while it was in transit, the recipient of that message would immediately know about it, because the recipient and the hacker would remain entangled. This satellite, dubbed Mesius after the ancient Chinese philosopher, is part of a 2-year mission to build the world's first utterly secure quantum communications network. We'll see if that comes to pass. I apologize if this is a tad strident, but what the is going on in Turkey? It's hard to be shocked anymore when terrible news emerges from the region, but somehow I'm still shocked. The country came under heavy fire from human rights activists this week when its Congress voted to strike down a law that automatically categorizes sexual acts with children between the ages of 12 and 15 as sexual abuse, which, for the record, it is. The vote was in response to a complaint from a Turkish district court that the law forced the court to prosecute offenders who committed sex acts with children ages 12 to 15 the same way that they'd prosecute those who committed sex acts with younger children, which makes sense to me because whether a child is 2, 5, 10, or 15, they're still a child. The complaint also stated that the law did not take consent of the children into account, and that 12 to 15-year-olds are able to understand what sex acts are and consent accordingly, which, and I'll call this my opinion because it is, in what world do you think a 12-year-old has the emotional maturity to understand what consent is and what sex acts mean, what the effects are, including pregnancy and disease? I don't know who's supposed to be teaching these kids about these topics, considering that 15,000 teachers across the country were fired a month ago following the country's attempted coup. Following criticism from human rights groups, the Constitutional Court released a statement that read, "Sexual abuse actions against children will not be decriminalized and will not remain unpunished, and the legislative body will be provided the opportunity to make a new regulation within the scope set out in the grounds." What this statement doesn't say, however, is that the word children applies to children between the ages of 12 and 15, or that sex with children between those ages is in fact always illegal. The law is officially repealed in January, and Professor Asen Barancel, General Secretary of the Association to Prevent Child Abuse and Neglect, says that unless new legislation is ratified by then, child abusers will be able to walk freely with no consequences. Turkey already has one of the highest rates of child marriage in the world, with one claim that at the end of last year, there were over 180,000 child brides in the country. This decision could endanger thousands of other children in the immediate future. Let's talk about the future of our planet. The Netherlands is considering taking a huge step forward environmentally by banning any new gas or diesel cars from the year 2025 onward. That would mean that only electric cars could be purchased or sold in the country from then on. The original bill proposed by the Labour Party called for the outright ban of all gas and diesel vehicles, including any purchased previously across the country. This was eventually modified to its current version. The bill has already passed through the lower house of parliament, but will need to be passed by the Dutch Senate in order to be ratified. Jan Vos, who is the face of the bill, admitted that the only way for the government to enforce this ban is to ensure that electric cars can be affordable to all citizens. The Netherlands are not the first to consider a ban on gas vehicles, with Norway debating a similar measure back in June. Quartz reports that Norway would have a much easier time passing such a law, as 1 in 3 new car purchases in in the country are electric. Though maybe all countries should be working on similar concepts, as an ongoing study published last Friday in the journal Lancet warns that the global climate could be so hot and humid in the future that 70 years from now, most cities across the planet would be too hot to host, say, the Summer Global Games that I can't legally name in this video. The study, authored by a cluster of American and Australian researchers, examined how climate change would affect future host cities of those games by 2085. By that time, they concluded, no cities in Africa nor Latin America could host them, and only 3 cities in North America, Vancouver, Calgary, and San Francisco, could qualify to host them. In fact, global heat is so bad that last month, July of 2016, was reported as the hottest month in all of recorded history by NASA. Heat records go all the way back to 1880, and this was the 10th record hot month in a row according to NASA's report, which, considering the ongoing wildfires in California, the record-breaking tragic floods in Louisiana and Maryland, and the fact that our polar ice caps have melted so much that we can sail a cruise ship through the Arctic's Northwest Passage for the very first time in history, it shouldn't be a massive surprise. Can we agree that our climate is in fact changing? Pretty please? So now I want to hear from you. What are your fears about cybersecurity? How do you feel about what's going on in Turkey? And how do you feel about climate change and what's going on in the Netherlands and Norway? Should we have a law like that in the United States? Should every country have a law like that? Let us know down in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to SourceFed. I'm Matt Lieberman, and until next time, you're in the loop. Thanks for watching. 6 points, the closest in the polls that they'd been since May 21st, the day Donald Trump was endorsed.
I need to start over from scratch.
I don't know.
And then I don't make it.